Hi, Tea Tigers. It's Miss Hall, your math queen. I'm so excited. I am here to talk to you about the Dreambox leaders for the whole school year from August 19th until last Friday, May 22nd. And we're going to look at what classes and students completed the most lessons. And I wanted to look at and highlight the people and the classes that made the most growth, that mastered the most topics and made progress in the most topics for the year, because it's not always just about the lessons. Sometimes you make more growth in fewer lessons. Sometimes it's going to be the same person and the same class, but sometimes it's not. And I just wanted to celebrate those of you that have made tremendous growth this year. So just hang on a minute and we will get started. Okay, so here we are with the Dreambox leaders for the 2019-2020 school year. I feel horrible that I have been remiss and forgot to include the ABLE classes who've been working so hard this year. So I wanted to make sure I slipped you guys in there here at the end and celebrate all of your hard work. Ms. Whitehead's class was the top class for lessons. They completed 411 lessons this year. And Ms. Hartfield's class led in growth with 88% growth. So I am very proud of our ABLE classes. For each of their classes, Matthew was the leader in Ms. Hartfield's class. He finished the most lessons and showed the most growth. And in Ms. Whitehead's class, it was Bill who completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. Great job, guys. Now let's look at kindergarten. Mr. Paez's class is the winner for the year. In this year, they completed 3,834 lessons and they grew 147%. Whoa, that's huge, guys. Great work. Now for the individual classes. In Miss Allison's class, Zachary was the top lessons and showed the most growth. Good job, Zachary. In Miss Duncan's class, Skyla completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Ms. Harris's class, Jake finished the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Ms. House's class, Aaron completed the most lessons, and then he and Twong tied for showing the most growth for the year. In Mr. Paez's class, Allison completed the most lessons, and Maria showed the most growth. In Ms. Perez's class, Nicholas and Jesse tied for having the most lessons, and then Kaden showed the most growth. And then finally, in Ms. Yanez's class, Kira did both. She was the top lesson leader and she showed the most growth. Great work, kindergarten. I am so proud of you. Okay, in first grade, our top class was Miss Valdez's class. They completed 5,413 lessons this year, and they showed 123% growth. That is amazing growth in your math skills, Miss Valdez's class. Okay, so for the individual classes, in Miss Cardwell's class, Evelyn completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Miss Meeks's class, Leah completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Miss Mendez's class, Alexa completed the most lessons, while Sebastian showed the most growth. In Ms. Montalongo's class, Mateo did both. He finished the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Mr. Rodriguez's class, Christabel completed the most lessons and Luke showed the most growth. In Ms. Valdez's class, Hui completed the most lessons and Jose showed the most growth. And finally, in Ms. Welch's class, Solara did both. She completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. Great job, first grade. I'm very proud of you. All right, in second grade, Miss Durbin's class led the grade level with 1,915 lessons completed and 46% growth. Great job. All right, for the individual classes, in Miss FJ's class, Isabella completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Miss Austin's class, Mason completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Ms. Durbin's class, Hernan completed the most lessons and Seth showed the most growth. In Ms. Gomez's class, Elijah did both, the most lessons and the most growth. In Miss Michelle's class, Elisa completed the most lessons, and Louise showed the most growth. In Miss Ruiz's class, Lucila completed the most lessons, while Diego showed the most growth. And in Miss Tremont's class, Megan did both, completing the most lessons and showing the most growth. I'm so proud of you, second grade. In third grade, Miss Matthews' class completed the most lessons with 4,933 lessons completed this year, while Miss Ryan's class had the most growth at 77%. Awesome job. Now for the individual classes, in Miss Canada's class, Gabriella completed the most lessons while Jose showed the most growth. In Miss Ferguson's class, Peter completed the most lessons and Brianna showed the most growth. In Miss Matthews' class, Hui completed the most lessons and Tuong showed the most growth. In Miss Moon's class, Diego completed the most lessons, and then he and Kevin tied for showing the most growth. In Miss Perez's class, Camila did both, most lessons and most growth. In Miss Ryan's class, Bilal did both, most lessons and most growth. And in Miss Stariff's class, Colin did both, most lessons and most growth. And in Miss Vasquez's class, excuse me guys, Adelie completed the most lessons, and then she and Santiago tied for showing the most growth. I am really proud of your hard work, third grade. And in fourth grade, Miss Espinosa's class completed the most lessons with 3,184 lessons completed this year. And Miss Garcia's class showed the most growth with 76% growth. Fantastic job, fourth grade. Okay. For the individual classes, in Miss Espinosa's class, Isaiah completed the most lessons, and he and Houston tied for showing the most growth. In Miss Garcia's class, Fabiola completed the most lessons, while Catherine showed the most growth. In Miss Guerra's class, Karen did both. She completed the most lessons and showed the most growth. In Miss Hoke's class, Jorge completed the most lessons, while Jonathan and Ryan tied for showing the most growth. Miss Jablonski's class was interesting. Matthew completed the most lessons, but then Matthew, Kaysen, Michael, and Joseph all tied for showing the most growth in the most areas. Great job, guys. In Miss Redwine's class, Jonathan completed the most lessons while Corbin showed the most growth. And finally, in Miss Robinson's class, Dylan did both. He completed the most lessons in his class and showed the most growth. Awesome job, fourth grade. So that's it. That's our Dreambox leaders for this year. I am so proud of all of your hard work, both during the Dreambox challenge back in January and February, and all of your hard work here at the end with this distance learning and everything else. You guys have worked so hard and made such progress in Dreambox, becoming better and better mathematicians, and I'm very, very proud of you. Now remember, Dreambox is going to be available all summer long for you to be working on those math skills, and I believe there's a summer challenge involved with it, so look in your report cards for that information. All right, for the last time, have a great day and great summer, Tigers.